To date on happenings around you and to make that easy for you, ladies and gentlemen, we present Freshlight, where we bring fresh newspaper headlines to the limelight. Mondays to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Watch, like, subscribe, and make sure your notification is activated on our YouTube channel. You can also like and comment on our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTv and radio.
It is a beautiful morning from this side, and I believe it is wherever you are watching us from. Welcome to Saturday edition of Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Today being the 7th day in the month of October in the year 2023, I welcome you once again to Freshlight. This is where we get to look at national dailies, or we get to read to you major stories and headlines. My name is RISQAT SULAIMON.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. We are here on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio to give you the latest news on Freshlight. I am IBRAHIM.
Alright, on Freshlight this morning, we'll be looking at the couples of newspapers in the studio. We have the Saturday Sun newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, and the Punch newspaper. We'll be starting Freshlight from the eastern part of the country. We'll be picking the Saturday Sun newspaper. No plans to hike petrol price. This is coming from NNPCL. You can find this on page 29 on the Saturday Sun newspaper. Real reason Biafra failed. This is not coming from me. This is coming from Nwala, ADF president. Away from that, fireworks over Tinubu's certificate. Page 27. Capture this story. Lawyers, MBF, YCE, CSOs, others divided on forgery allegations. Admissibility of new evidence at Supreme Court. You can find this story on the page 28 on the Saturday Sun newspaper this morning. Picking the bold headline on Saturday Sun newspaper, I have this news: how quack doctors killed Mohbad. Quack nurse, I beg your pardon. How quack nurse killed Mohbad. Pathetic captured this report, and this report is coming from police. It also has rather story: Naira Marley, Sam Larry, others accused of complicity as police wait for DPP advice. And away from that, FG lacks political will to tackle banditry in the north. You can find this on page 30 and 24 on the Saturday Sun newspaper this morning. Our CNG leader Charanyachi says FG lacks political will to tackle banditry in the northern part of the state. And away from that, let's move to Ondo State this morning. APC initiates reconciliation. Suspend impeachment of Deputy Governor, Ondo Deputy Governor. You can find this on page 25 on the Saturday Sun newspaper this morning. Man, son, security guide, 2 others defile 11-year-old daughter. You can find this sad story on the 27th on the Saturday Sun newspaper. Lastly, on the Saturday Sun newspaper this morning, Osun government slams 24-hour curfew on worrying communities. You can find this on page 26 on the Saturday Sun newspaper this morning. All of these and many more stories you'll find on the Saturday Sun newspaper. Going into the details.
My first story on the Saturday Sun newspaper today: fireworks over Tinubu's certificate. The controversy over the authenticity of certificate obtained at the Chicago State University in Illinois, United States, by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 1979 continued to rage yesterday, with supporters and opponents of the president taking totally different position of the matter. lawyers, leaders of ethnic nationalities, and civil society activists that spoke with Saturday Sun were sharply divided in their opinion. While some pitched their tent with the presidential candidate of the opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP), Atiku Abubakar, insisting that the president's certificate submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) were doctored. Others asserted that President Tinubu record at the CSU were in order, noting that Atiku's expedition in the school was a mere white goose chase. Meanwhile, leaders of the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC) are rallying round with president with a view of dosing at detention created by the certificate verification saga. President candidate of People Democratic Party (PDP) Atiku Abubakar had accused Tinubu of allegedly forging the university certificate he submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). Atiku had approached a United States of America court, which had ordered Chicago State University to release details of Tinubu, especially his certificate. Fireworks over Tinubu's certificate. If you want to read more of these, you go to the Daily Sun newspaper.
Still on the Sun newspaper this morning, no plans to hike petrol price. This is not coming from me, this is coming from the NNPC Limited. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPC) on Friday unlaid a motorist fear of a possible petrol price hike. The authority has forced consumers to engage in panic buying the hedge against an anticipated price increase following reports that the landing cost of petrol had shot up the National Oil Company on its head angled the public to disregard wild speculations suggesting that a petrol price increase was in the offing. It is said, dear esteemed customers, we at NNPC Retail value your patronage and we do not have the intention to increase our PMS pump prices as widely speculated. Please buy the best quality products at the most affordable prices at our NNPC retail stations nationwide. NNPC Limited comments were in a reaction to reports that the landing cost of petrol has remarkably spiked to 720 naira per litre from the previous price of 651 naira per litre in August, a development that prepared the ground for a pump price increase. Already, many oil marketers and the port owners lament that they cannot restock due to a plethora of challenges ranging from foreign exchange scarcity and high diesel costs to increase in crude oil prices at the international market, bad roads and security concerns. To read details of this, you can pick the Sun newspaper this morning. No plans to hike petrol price, NNPC Limited says. Now my mind is is a bit rest down.
Okay. On the Daily Sun newspaper, Abia Tribunal dismisses PDP petition against OT. The governorship election petition tribunal sitting in Umuahia on Friday struck out of the petition field by the PDP candidate Chief Okechukwu Hiaye, challenging the election of Governor Alex Oti of Labour Party. The three-member panel, in its almost 4-hour judgment, read by Justice G.T.D. Gwada, dismissed the three grounds raised by the petitioner for lacking inquiry in merit. The tribunal, in an unanimous decision, held that the petitioner failed in the attempt to convince the panel that the election was marred by irregularities and not conducted in substantial compliance with the provision of the Electoral Act 2022 beyond reasonable doubt. It further ruled that the issue of whether OT was qualified to contest or whether the LP's governorship primary was not duly conducted were entirely party affairs, and therefore the tribunal lacked the jurisdiction. The tribunal also held that the petitioner were unable to prove beyond reasonable doubt the allegation that OT did not score the majority of the lawful votes cast and that the election was marred by corruption practice and irregularities. To read more of this, pick on the Daily Sun newspaper. Abia Tribunal dismisses PDP petition against OT.
And that will be our last story on the Saturday Sun newspaper. So moving forward this morning, let's pick Vanguard newspaper this morning. On the Vanguard newspaper, we have BB Niger's final story of putting the record straight. Going to Ondo State this morning, APC holds impeachment of Akeredolu's deputy. You can find this on page 5 on the Saturday Vanguard. 2.5 billion naira cancer center in Kwara will reverse medical tourism in Nigeria. This is coming from Governor Abdul Razak, and you can find this on page 6 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Picking the bold headline, Cardoso and Naira, what Nigerians should expect. From the figures available to me, Tinubu has promised a lot more than CBN can legally provide. The alternative is to borrow using various instruments. Unfortunately, Buhari borrowed enough for 3 administrations before departing. You can find this story on the page 9 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And away from that, let's get to look at this special report, how to rescue Nigerians. You can find this on page 11 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Police reveal what killed Mohbad. Management of injury after a fight resulted in his death. Auxiliary nurse administered injection that triggered his death. Nurse Neramali Samlari, Prime Boy Ayobami Sadiq named suspects. You can find all these on the page 4 and page 6 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Tinubu and the Igbo, what really happened? You can find what happened between Tinubu and Igbo on page 24. And lastly, on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, Kano Mass wedding, intended couples test positive to hepatitis B, HIV pregnancy. You can find this on page 5 on the Saturday Sun newspaper. We also get to see entertainment news. My big boobs get men crazy. This is not coming from me. This is coming from Sarafina Amechi. You can find this on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. All of these and many more stories you find on Saturday Vanguard this morning. Going into the details.
My first story on the Vanguard newspaper, I'll go into, as she has said, page 9 of the newspaper, which says Cardoso and Naira, what Nigerians should expect. As far as I am concerned, under my leadership, we will not be hijacked by anybody. The idea is to ensure that we do what is right, when it is right, and how it is right. We have seen what the effect of not doing the right thing has been, and we do not intend for that to be repeated. Governor of Central Bank, Al-IyamoyeTv, said that talk is cheap, and careless talk can be extremely expensive when uttered by top government officials who could have guessed on May 29, 2023, the subsidy is gone, would have created so much disruption to our economic and social lives as we experience them now. Yet the declaration was widely applauded the day it was made. So why is an idea broadly supported causing sleepless nights and forcing the federal government into making so many desperate policy decisions and still getting billed for each one? The answer will come later. But first, we need to address the promise made by the new CBN governor, because though he might not realize it, his conviction will be put to the test more sooner than he realizes. Cardoso already has my sympathies, as I shall soon explain. But it is fact that CBN has never been in such terrible mess since its creation. To read more of this, you can go to the Vanguard newspaper, which says Cardoso and Naira, what Nigerians should expect.
Picking my first story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, Nigerian-Canadian priest urges Tinubu to tackle poverty. A Canadian-based Nigerian priest, Reverend Father Patrick Ampani, has urged President Bola Tinubu to focus on implementing initiatives that will lift Nigerians out of poverty. Ampani, who commented on the 63rd independence anniversary, told the news agency of Nigeria NAN in New York that the president should focus on restoring the trust the citizen has lost in their previous leaders. The priest advised Tinubu to make effort to win back the confidence of the citizens through the implementation of credible projects. The government should be concerned with the well-being of the masses, ensuring the security, protection of their properties, and creating job opportunities and enabling environment for businesses. It is impossible to create a thriving nation without security, job creations, and policies that promote business. All the hope that a nation has is embedded in its ability to create a secure environment, empower the youth through credible education, create job opportunities, and policies that encourage business to grow, he said. He further stated that, according to him, the president should demonstrate that his government has the credibility to be transparent in enforcing the rule of law. He also congratulates the fellow compatriots of the journey so far and encourage the citizens to take a moment to reflect on the sacrifices made by the founding fathers. To read details of this, you can pick Vanguard newspaper this morning. It has this headline: Nigeria's Canadian priest urges Tinubu to tackle poverty.
Also from the Vanguard newspaper, we have this: national development, a generational endeavor, Catholic priest tells Nigeria. A Canadian-based Nigerian priest, Reverend Patrick Ampani, says national development is a generational endeavor, urging every Nigerian to do his part to support the effort of the federal government. Ampani, who spoke on the sideline of the 63rd Independent Anniversary, told the News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, in New York, said it should be a collective effort to develop the country. According to him, every generation engaged in collective cooperation and collaboration in nation building, and that everyone should get involved in contributing to the socio-economic development in the nation. Ampani said this is critically important because much of the future of Nigeria will depend upon our individual and collective selfless commitment to nation building and stability. However, one of the key factors in inhibiting progress in the country like Nigeria is when citizens underestimate the effect of their individual effort to bring about the change we all desire. Ideally, we are drawing the change we desire from the practice of the previous generation, building upon the sources and challenges we serve as for us today. Imperatively, we too leave a valuable footprint and posterity in their quest to building a prosperous nation for their children and grandchildren. He, however, appealed to well-meaning Nigerians at home and abroad to develop a way of giving back to the society. Ampani, who is the chaplain with the Canadian Armed Forces, told NAN that they had been contributing his own quota by supporting the less privileged in Nigeria, especially by supporting their education. I am taking a lead in rebuilding the community primary school in my village, Gideon, Bako, Nkulu, Ward, in Zagokat local government area of Kaduna. To read more of this, you can pick up the Vanguard newspaper, which says national development, a generational endeavor, Catholic priest tells Nigeria.
And away from that, I'll be taking my trip to Osun State this morning on communal clash. Stop killing your people. Oni appeals to Ifon Ilobu youths. Ile-Ife, the Oni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, has charged the youth in Ifon and Ilobu communities in Osun State to stop the wanton killing and destruction of properties in the two communities. Speaking with the newsmen at his palace in Ile-Ife on Friday, the monarch expressed displeasure over the violent clash between the neighboring towns, which has led to loss of lives. He charged the monarchs in the communities to prevail on their subject to cease the ongoing hostility, saying they are from the same source. Hence, land disputes should not resort to killing and wanton destruction. Ifon and Ilobu people, I am appealing to you in the name of God from the throne of Oduduwa. We are all the same, one race. Please let us stop the killings and destruction of property. The youth of this community, I beg you, with this throne, we came from the same throne, so we all the same, I use this throne to beg you, please don't let it escalate further. Be your brother's keeper. Why are we killing ourselves and destroying each other's property? Let us stop killings, he added. This is coming from the Oni of Ife as he appeals to Ifon Ilobu youth. Stop killing your people. You can find this on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Vanguard newspaper guide us to the story, and from that we'll go for short commercial break, or we'll be right back.
Thousands have been disappointed severally in their bid to seek greener pasture abroad. To those quack in the traveling, thousands have been disappointed severally in their bid to seek greener pasture. Thousands have been disappointed severally in their bid to seek greener pasture abroad. To those quack in the traveling agency business, it is a rocket science. That is not our case at Tausaf Travels and Tours. We have in-depth details on how to successfully, without stress, help you process and secure your visa to anywhere in the world. Do you want permanent residential visa, visiting and tourism visa, student visa to places like Europe, America, Asia, Africa? It's no big deal to us at Tausaf Travels and Tour. Our years of experience and expertise speaks volume for us. Let's process and secure visa for you to UK, USA, and Canada within a twinkle of an eye. We offer Hajj and Umrah services to our Muslim faithfuls. What are you waiting for? Consult us at number 9 Tausaf Central Mall, Sholanke Street, behind Laroy Hotel, Abiola Way, Abeokuta. 0802 733 0900 or 0806 578 4060. Stop wasting money. Pay for peace of mind. Talk to Tausaf Travels and Tour.
gbogbo aláfẹ́ tó gbayì tó fẹ́ wọṣọ yìí ṣoge tó bágbàmú ló ń kọjá lọ sí House of Zayana. House of Zayana, the name I know when we talk of top-notch fashion, quality materials and class. House of Zayana, lẹ́tí máa rójúlówó Turkey wears, Egypt and Malaysia clothing, Dubai, àwọn designer bags lóríṣiríṣi, àwọn ìtẹ̀lẹ̀ bàtà tó jiná tí wọ́n fawọ́ original ṣe, àwọn aago kajọ́ tó ń ka wákàtí ọjọ́, designer sunglasses and perfumes, pẹ̀lú àwọn gbogbo nǹkan tóbìnrin àsìkò fi ń gbafẹ́ lò gbà. Mo débẹ̀ ojú mi ń ṣe kámi, èmi ni ó rà, èmi ni ó mú. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin mùsùlùmí ẹlẹ́sìn tẹ́ gbòógì gbọ́n pa fashion tẹ́ wá nílò jàlábíà, hijab àti àbáyà lóríṣiríṣi. House of Zayana lẹ́ ò ti rí gbogbo ẹ̀ rà. House of Zayana wà ní 52 Ọlọ́run ṣògo road adjacent Redeemed Church Agape Parish Ọlọ́run ṣògo Abẹ́òkúta. Lórí Instagram House of Zayana 08165688618. House of Zayana, ilé ìtajà tá a ti ń tojúlówó aṣọ àti nǹkan aṣaralóge tí ń gbéni níyì.
Welcome back from the commercial break. We are still there watching Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. This is Freshlight, where we give you fresh update on what is happening all over the world. And now we are kick-starting from the Punch newspaper. We'll give you the update on news coming up from the Punch newspaper. On the cover page of the Punch newspaper, we have it from the bold headline there, Certificate Saga. President says Atiku desperate as ex-VP submits Tinubu's Chicago varsity record. Says President committed perjury by submitting fraudulent certificate to electoral body. Presidency says ex-VP chasing shadows, aid alleges Atiku desperate to embrace Tinubu. Prove allegation of fake credentials against me. Soyinka dares accusers. That's on page 14 of the Punch newspaper. Naira Marley, Malian president, cooling off at Pantis D4. That is page 16 of the Saturday Punch newspaper. DSS officer slapped, threatened to kill me for defending client. Lawyer said so. That is on page 14 of the Saturday Punch newspaper. Private confronters, thriving world of professional codlers. To read more of that, you see on page 20 and 21 of the Saturday Punch newspaper. Mohbad, police indeed prime boy. Friend, killer nurse in singer's death. You will see more of that on the Saturday Punch newspaper. Auxiliary nurses are work employed by clinic for cheap labor. Now president says that on page 2 of the Saturday Punch newspaper. Now to the story of the Punch newspaper.
Alright, on the Punch newspaper, I'm going to this is picking my first story. I will be starting with prove allegations of fake credentials against me. Soyinka dares accusers. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka on Friday gave those accusing of parading fake academic credentials 30 days to submit all their evidence to the relevant agencies for investigations. He noted that if found culpable, he won't strip himself of any titles and honors he might have gathered in his career. He also said that the failure by the accusers to provide evidence within the stipulated time will mean they lack honor and should as a token of moral recompense, undertake to jump off the bridge of the symbolic river Niger. One Joseph Dahib had in 1998 article referenced a 1996 report in which a scholar, Professor James Gibbs, was quoted as unraveling some claims made by Soyinka. The 1996 article partly read the claim by Professor Soyinka saying he had obtained a first-class bachelor's degree in English literature from Leeds University has been challenged. Instead, what the Nobel laureate actually obtained from Leeds was a second-class degree, and this startling revelation was made by Professor James Gibbs, who has closely monitored the activities of former Leeds students in English literature. The report quoted Gibbs as saying that he relied on a variety of sources, including contemporary Leeds publication, archival materials, Soyinka's works and interviews. I had with him in the arriving at the fact that he had on Soyinka academic records. He stated a document of unmatchable security last encountered during General Sani Abacha's global campaign of calumny against opponents of his despotic, infernally venom and homicidal reign is back in circulation. To read details of this, you can pick the Punch newspaper this morning. Prove allegations of fake credentials against me. Soyinka dares accusers. Punch newspaper punches it out this morning.
From my side here, we have DSS officer slapped, threatening to kill me for defending clients. Lawyer. A lawyer, Douglas Ogbankwa, who was allegedly beaten and detained by officers of the Department of State Service for refusing to allow them to take his client's statement. In his absence, shares his experience with Fatih Amir. One of your colleagues made on a post on X, formerly Twitter, stating that you were assaulted by operatives of the Department of the State Service on September 6. Can you explain what happened on the day? A little explanation of what he said. I visited the DSS office on 1 High Court Road, Benin City, Edo State at about 11:45 a.m. on September 26, 2023 with my client, and we were in a waiting room when two ladies at interval wanted to take my client to go and make a statement without my presence. I protested that I needed to be present by the provision of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. It was at the moment that one man in a blue native attire, and who I knew was the principal staff officer of operation and intelligence, came out, told my client to come and shouted at me to go back to the reception. It was at the point that I realized something sadly was going on, and I informed him that I was not a kindergarten pupil who should be pushed around, because he was very uncouth and aggressive in the manner that he approached and spoke to me. After I said that, he told me to leave their office, and I told him that the SS office is an agency of the federal government, and I was a freeborn who should be able to access the premises at reasonable hours of the day. And for the fact I was a lawyer who came to represent my client's interest in the case. A lot of this was said by the accusers. To read more of this, you can go to the Punch, which said the SS officer slapped, threatening to kill me for defending client lawyer.
Still on the Punch newspaper, picking another story. Auxiliary nurses are quacks employed by the clinics for cheap labor. This is coming from NAM president. The president of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, Michael Nachi, tells Lara Adejoro, while the association does not recognize auxiliary nurses in view of the arrest of a suspect who was said to have administered an injection on musical artist Ilerioluwa Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad, before he died. Some Nigerians find it hard to distinguish between a registered nurse and auxiliary nurse when seeking medical care. How are these connected or unconnected to the nursing professions? A registered nurse refers to a person who has undergone professional training to become a nurse. Even before entering into an institution, the person must be qualified, and the qualification has to do with having an O-level certificate that must include English language, mathematics, physics, and biology in not more than 2 sittings. We have the basic nursing training, which is run in a school of nursing and through a joint admission and matriculation board examination. You can study in the university whichever way. You must have the O-level qualification. That one is compulsory, because without it you are going nowhere. If you have taken the JAMB examination, you must pass it if you want to be offered admission. He also distinguished between professional and auxiliary, which is the said auxiliary nurse has nothing to do with professional nurses. They are incomparable. They are two things that do not match at all. It is an erroneous assumption that everybody in a white uniform is a nurse. It can be assumed by an individual. It is like going to the hospital and saying that everybody in a white uniform is a nurse, when you may not know that some of them are dietitians. You should not conclude that anybody who wears a white uniform is a nurse. That is a misnomer. The basic truth is that a professional nurse and auxiliary can't be compared. To read details of this, you can pick Punch newspaper this morning. Auxiliary nurses are quacks employed by clinics for cheap labor. This is coming from the non-president, and Punch newspaper has the details. But my question is, so when we eventually go to hospital now, we should be seeking for their certificates, or how do we know the auxiliary from the professional ones?
Number one, you need to ask from the doctor. Let me say the doctor. So the doctor will tell you who and who are to attend to you.
Okay, who and who are to attend to me?
Of course. So the doctor should know the nurse and the auxiliary. They are different from the nurse and auxiliary. So the doctor should be able to differentiate between the two.
What if in a situation, that emergency situation, that you don't even have access to doctor? Do you know there are some situations that you can't even have access to doctor? There is only the nurse that are available. So should we ask the nurses there, please? Where's the certificate? Or who is the auxiliary nurse here? Or who is the professional one? God will help us in this country.
Amen. From the Punch newspaper, from the side, FCTA targets over 250 billion monthly generated revenue. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has set a target of over 250 billion as monthly internally generated revenue in the territory. Mandate Secretary of the Economic Planning, Revenue Generation and Public-Private Partnership Secretariat, Shinendum Elechi, made this known on Friday during a meeting with revenue officers at the FCDA Conference Hall in Abuja. Elechi said it was even possible for the administration to generate as much as 300 billion naira in a month, adding, however, that it will have a human face to deal with the issue of multiple taxation in the FCT. He said, we think the FCT can do 250 billion a month on a good day, and that is the sort of target we are looking at. We can even do 300 billion naira a month in some good period. So that is what we want to work out. However, in trying to grow revenue, it will also have a human face, because we are going to be dealing with issue of multiple taxation, so things are going to be streamlined. Elechi also stated that it was important for all revenue generating secretariats, department and agency to work at generating revenue for the infrastructural development of the FCT, particularly in the face of dual statutory allocation from the federal government. Improved IGR in paramount of the funding of the administration to augment the dwindling federal government monthly statutory allocation for accelerated infrastructural development in the FCT. Therefore, there is a strong need for all of us to redouble our efforts to attain our IGR target and deliver on these enormous responsibilities. To read more of these, you can pick up the Saturday Punch newspaper. FCT, it targets over 250 billion naira monthly generated revenue.
Now, still on similar story on the Mohbad's death, which is still about the quack nurse. I'm picking another story on this. Police quiz 26 says nurse prime boy friend main suspect in singer's death. The Lagos command of the Nigerian Police Force has announced that the auxiliary nurse Feyishayo Ogedengbe, who injected Mohbad, his friend and fellow artist Ibrahim Oduni, aka Prime Boy, and another friend Ayobami Sadiq as some of the prime suspects in the singer's death. The Lagos State Police Commissioner Idowu Owohunwa made this note while briefing the media about the ongoing investigation into the singer's demise. Owohunwa stated that the police quizzed 26 people, while 5 suspects had so far been identified, arrested, detained, and interrogated on their alleged roles in the sequences of events that led to the singer's death. He said Ms. Feisayo Ogedengbe is the auxiliary nurse who contacted and invited by Ayobami Sadiq, aka Spending, a friend of Mohbad, on September 11, 2023, to treat the singer at the deceased residence at Lekki, Lagos. She eventually came on Tuesday, September 12, 2023, and administered 3 different injections, which are believed to have occasioned the chain of reactions that directly resulted in the death of the singer. She is the principal suspect in the death of Mohbad. She acknowledged that it was the injection she administered on the deceased that triggered the reactions, which eventually led to Mohbad's death. Others, experts' opinions and witnesses' statements corroborated her admittance. To read details of this, you can pick Punch newspaper this morning. Mohbad police quiz 26 say nurse prime boy friend main suspect in singer's death.
Let me just pick the last, which is the sports column, which says Osimhen tipped for FIFA award as voting closes. Super Eagle forward Victor Osimhen has been tipped as the favorite to win the FIFA Men's Player of the Year award as fan voting closed on Friday. Saturday Punch report. The qualifying period for the prizes between December 19, 2022 and August 10, 2023 with nominees including Argentina captain Lionel Messi, Frenchman Kylian Mbappe, and Norwegian Manchester City striker Erling Haaland. Osimhen is among the favorites for the award after scoring 29 goals in this period while helping Napoli to win the Serie A title for the first time in over 3 decades. He also emerged as last season's Serie A top scorer and was named in the league team of the season. Other players on the shortlist are Kevin De Bruyne, Julian Alvarez, Marcelo Brozovic, Ike Gundogan, Rodrigo, Cascante, Christopher Cazorla, Declan Rice, and Bernardo Silva. Super Eagle coach Jose Peseiro declared support for the 24-year-old, saying Osimhen can surely win it in his future. He is not lacking anything to do it. Pesero said he has different characteristics than other players that are at the top of the moment, but he scored a lot as well. Africa only Ballon d'Or winner George Weah believes Osimhen can win the FIFA Best Award and even go far as winning the Golden Ball. To read more of these about Osimhen, you pick on the Saturday Punch newspaper which said Osimhen tipped for FIFA award as voting closes.
And this is where we call it a wrap on Freshlight this morning. Don't forget to always like, comment, and share all our content. I remain RISQAT SULAIMON. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening to the Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. You can do join us for our next program, which is Smart Key from Anti-RISQAT. So you can join us for more episodes like this. By the grace of God, do enjoy the rest of your weekend. By Monday, another episode of Freshlight is coming up to you. I am IBRAHIM ONIGBINDE, which says a good bye.